So today's day 2 of my video blog. So I'm here in Salt Lake City right now at my buddy's transmission shop. This is his garage, or his storage unit, where he keeps what he calls his cores. There's like all the spare parts that are still usable that come off of old transmissions that either he's going to go through, reuse, or recycle. So today I'm going through all of these, and there's also a lot more inside that I'm going to be bringing in across this breezeway here, and basically moving, gosh, I don't even know how many tons, but quite a few tons of metal from there to here. So I didn't get as much done today as I was hoping to. I was thinking I'd get pretty much all of the transmissions that were like kind of like what they call cores here put away and organized, but there just really wasn't the space to put them away. So I spent the majority of the day just kind of cleaning. You wouldn't think it would take 8 hours to mop a floor, but sometimes at a transmission shop it really gets that bad, especially when you're just kind of cleaning up the odds and ends stuff all around. So that's kind of another thing I've been trying to figure out is like what format to do this video blog in. I originally thought I was going to do this every single day, but after days like today where I end up working the whole day and I don't really have time to like film and then go sneak away and cut stuff and edit it and get it online, I think it's probably, I don't know if it's going to have a schedule. I don't think it really is, actually. I think it's going to be mostly me just kind of creating content whenever I can and getting it out as soon as I can. It seems like everybody that does these video blogs that I've watched, they all kind of have a theme, right? Like, I'm not trying to be anybody's life coach or mentor or anything like that, but if I had to pick my niche in all that, I would probably say that what I'm passionate about and what I would really like to share with people is just philosophy. I'm really passionate about philosophy. I study philosophy and psychology religiously. When I think of philosophy, I think of a lot of different things, but I usually think of the really big existential questions. The ones that really I get into a lot are things like the nature of consciousness, and what is consciousness, and what is subjective experience, and is there a such thing as objective experience, and what would the universe look like if we weren't looking at it through our human eyes that are limited by our subjective senses, and do we have free will, or is everything deterministic? I mean, these are the big questions that really get my gears going. I think the more you ponder about the universe and the more you understand the illusion of separation and understand what consciousness is, you start to think more of a universal mind. You start to like realize that we all are literally one single living organism with many parts as the whole universe. I am not one singular person. I am actually trillions of individual cells, and each one of these cells possibly have their own consciousness. And like, there's the idea of panpsychism. Panpsychism is the idea that everything is consciousness. Everything. I mean, including this couch, right? I mean, on some level, everything is conscious in some level. It's just not necessarily the way that we understand consciousness. I guess why this is important is because when you see this and you see that our individuality is an illusion, and that we're all one living thing, I guess you start to live differently. You start to realize that we're all one symbiotic system, and what I do affects you, what you do affects me, and everything affects everything, and it's the butterfly effect and all that. But I mean, first of all, I do believe consciousness is an illusion, which is a tricky thing to say because obviously it's real. We all experience our own subjective consciousness. But I think it's Ray Kurzweil, for any of you who aren't familiar, definitely Google him. He's worth Googling. His theory is, at least if I'm understanding it correctly, is very similar to that of Max Tegmark, which is basically that networked systems of data, whenever they become vast enough, complex enough, and networked and connected enough, consciousness comes as an emergent property of that. And one of the things that I really like about what Max Tegmark says is that he believes that everything is all about patterns, right? He uses the metaphor of water. He says, okay, well, water as a liquid, as a vapor, and as a solid is all made of the same stuff. But you change the arrangement of it, and it completely changes what it is, right? I mean, even though it's still water, it's still the same molecules. The arrangement of it is what's important. And he believes that consciousness is a pattern. And that kind of correlates with what Ray Kurzweil says, because Ray Kurzweil believes it's about networked complex systems of data and they both kind of believe that it just has an emergent sense of consciousness. And that to me is panpsychism. I think we're conscious because all the trillions of cells that make us up are conscious, and they are conscious because all the trillions of things that make them up are conscious. And this is often referred to as homunculus, right? That what's inside your brain? Is it like a little person that has a viewer screen in front of them that sees out the eyes, and microphones in your ears, and he hears with headphones, and that's kind of the metaphor. And in a sense, yeah, our consciousness is made up of trillions of other smaller consciousnesses. And I believe the universe is infinite. I believe that with the largest telescope you could possibly build, the universe goes on forever. We will never see the end of it. And I think, likewise, if we were to make the most powerful microscope ever that could just see smaller than the small and the small, and I don't think there is a smallest unit of matter. I think everything is infinite, large and small, fractally as well. Which is why I also believe in parallel dimensions and all that kind of stuff, and they all exist simultaneously. And then this gets into the idea of, well, what is time? Is time an illusion? I think time is an illusion. I think everything exists static. Everything in the universe, everything that ever could have possibly happened, has happened, will happen, exists mathematically in the universe, and somehow or another we find ourselves traveling, I guess, down this pattern. And that gives us the illusion of consciousness. And yet we're all the same person, having trillions of dreams. We're all the universe itself, just having lots of little mini micro dreams with all of its smaller parts. At least that's my theory about it. So I guess that's what we'll talk about today. We'll call that the topic. We'll cover. I did a little bit of cleaning, and I talked about panpsychism. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. Maybe the videos can be longer, maybe they can be shorter. Maybe you have ideas about how they can be formatted better. I appreciate feedback. This is my first time doing this. I don't know anything about what I'm doing. So until next time, Vagabond out.